Righty-ho, good evening folks, and welcome back once again to Suzerain. Robert, good evening sir. I saw your comment earlier this morning that you missed yesterday, but you're here today, so good effort. Jokey Drake, welcome, good evening. Oliver Feeney, welcome too. Oh, thank Mr. Prime Minister, I'm a president sir, get your facts straight. Good evening Ollie. Good evening. So, this was supposed to be an Alan Wake stream, but after the session yesterday that we had, I went away and I did some reading. And I thought to myself, after I'd finished my reading until quarter past 1 in the morning, and I was getting up for work at 7. 7. Reading, little bits, little bats, rereading stuff that I read yesterday, because it's one thing reading it on camera and you can take bits of it in, but until you sit there with a cup of tea and there's nobody watching you and then read it, it makes a lot more sense. Let me put my phone on mute here. So excuse me. Right, that's the end of that. Mobile free day today. So yes, Hank, welcome. Joe, welcome to you. Crazy Canuck, welcome. So yeah, after I did all the reading last night into the wee hours when I should have been in bed, I thought to myself when I woke up this morning, why do all that reading and then stream this next week or Sunday? You know, this coming Sunday now, I suppose, where I'll have to refresh myself again. There's no bloody point, is there? So I thought, you know what, we'll strike while the iron is hot and we'll dive back into this. Because I'm looking forward to seeing how it all pans out. It's got off to a promising start, and I really enjoyed yesterday. I did feel it was a bit, you know, because I was getting used to the game, but now I feel like I can thoroughly set my stall out and enjoy it now, and even read what I need to read. So, basically, I looked back last night, first of all, at... I'm going to give you a refresher. Rather than flim-flam, I'll give you a 20-minute refresher of yesterday for those of you that might not have understood what was going on, because there's a lot of flim-flam thrown in. I'll give you a brief summary of what we covered yesterday, what the situation is in our country, and then we'll go on. How about that? So, let's see. And if anybody can correct me or add some context, please feel free, because this game is very rich with lore, you see. So some hardened experts that have played this game 3 or 4 times might well be able to fill some gaps in, which will be pretty handy. But right, so yesterday we were walking through the Maroon Palace, and we sat down behind our desk and we comprehended the fact that we are Mr. President Rain, with the fedora, purple, glasses brown, goatee beard, not a pipe thankfully, and a nice maroon coloured suit and tie. I don't know what it is with me and creating characters recently, but Vulpus, I have to say, every stream that Vulpus looks good. He looks fantastic, and I've already created a monster here. He looks pretty suave, doesn't he? If I do say so myself. Right, anyway, so... what's that? 20 minutes? 15 minutes left. It's like a video update, this. How to sum up the first session in 20 minutes in 40 minutes. Right, military. So we've got compulsory service. We've got some experienced generals that are the Swordist General Staff, which are the people that do all the strategy, and we've got a gendarmerie, which when I read further is basically a militia arm of the police. If the police, the civil militia, or civil law enforcement can't deal with a situation in an area, the gendarmeries come in. I think that's what they are, basically. That's that. But more importantly, the problems of the military. Interferes with politics and outdated weaponry. That's the 2 problems that we discovered yesterday. Then we move on to law. Now, law was interesting because I had to reflect on law, because there's a lot of law and some of it was like, I don't understand it. So I sat down and reread this bit properly. So constitution amendments, I get this now. So amending the constitution is a very serious thing. It's the constitution. You know. So we've got to get at least 150 signatures to even put it before the assembly. And then if 2/3 have got to vote in favour of it, and then it goes to the Supreme Court, and then they've got to have a majority vote. and then it can pass. So quite a difficult thing to achieve. Or it's got to be something so significant that the whole lot agree, yeah, that's actually a good idea, you know. So I thought that was my understanding of that after rereading it. Good evening, Cham. We've got one honorary member of the Assembly, Tarquin Sol, gets a private bodyguard for free, gets some state-paid private residence as well. Immunity for justices carrying out the duties. Obviously can't be personally liable if they're carrying out the duties. Unlimited terms means you can have as long as you want. We've got to change that apparently. Oh, do we? What if we want to play forever? Ultimate power. Right, okay, so presidential decrees, yeah, we can do that, but it's, you know, it can't contradict the Constitution. This was one that I didn't understand and re-understood when I reread it, which is basically in an election, if you don't get 10% of the public vote, you don't get a seat on the Assembly for your party. So, oh dear. That's what that means. Ministers chosen from the Assembly, this basically means that in the Council of Ministers, rather than just being your own council members, it's all council members from all parties for that feeling of inclusiveness. I am impeachable. I can veto things. Right, this Bloodish Freedom Party is banned. Now, I've got a sneaking suspicion that we're going to have a few says about the Bloodish Freedom Party in this game. The special zone of Berger. Now, Berger is way down here, the land of Berger. Obviously, it's in our Swordland. Swordland. I want to call it Sandland. I don't know why. Swordland, right? And we were born in Deer, which was in Berger, and Berger is currently going through a little bit of a poor economy situation. So that's where the Bloodish are. The highest proportion of Bloodish people are in Berger, apparently, and it's causing a lot of unrest. Now, well, that's not why I was going to say that, but there's a special zone in Berger, apparently, which is kind of separate from the central government's control, in such that it's actually run by a governor. Now, the governor is appointed by the president, and the governor rules in this special zone of Berger and kind of sits outside of the... It's like a little, you know, send nasty people, get over there, get out of here, banish you to Berger, banish you to the special zone of Berger. It's banishment. But yeah, that's it. You know, gone. There they are. Now, that's an issue personally because as part of some of the law problems, which I now understand, is that there is a dispute between. There is yes, there is. There is a dispute. Where is it? It's in the order section. I've got notes on the screen. You see, I'm very organised today. There is currently going on between. There's a dispute basically. The Ministry of Defence, our Ministry of Defence, I think it's the Ministry of Defence, and the Governor of Berger are at loggerheads. There's some kind of issue going on there. Might be worth. That's another thing that I feel we've got to sort out at some point. So that is that. And then basically, if you're in Swordland, you're a swordish person. Whether you're black, brown, yellow, white, pink, green, whatever you worship, whoever you worship, you're a sword person. And equal before the law. So that was the policies for law. Economy, obviously, we're currently in an alphasonomics situation, which basically means it's the opposite to what we've chosen, which is a state structured, planned economy. That's the word, planned, and we can't have foreign ownership above 20% for the energy companies. Welfare. So what was the economy issues? Yeah. So economy issues. Weak transport links. Big major issue there. Unemployment crisis, a bit of an issue there. Tax evasion's happening apparently. Bergen, Lauren, which is down here. Lauren, big forested area, big timber industry there, and Agland. Agland is also struggling with a poor economy. In fact, we've got 2 reports from the towns within Agland citing issues. So we're going to reread those just to get it in our head in this 20 minute recap here. But I'm doing well. I think I'm remembering a lot of this stuff quite well for only my second time playing, because I've put a lot of effort into this because I'm really enjoying this game. Right, So that was that, and there's a stagnated production of goods. Now, I don't know how many goods we produce, but I do know that we produce some stuff here, foresty, timbery stuff, but we've also got a steel industry as well, I think it was. Was it steel? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Steel industry somewhere in the... I think it was up here, in fact. I think it was up here. Agnaliania. I think it was a steel industry. Was it steel? I think it might have been. I might not be 100% right, but there's another industry that I read about yesterday. Anyway, that's that. There's a bit of a stagnation with the production of goods. Law problems. Court backlog, remember? There's a backlog in the courts. Justice isn't being brought down swift enough upon them ne'er-do-wells. We've got unequal women's rights to the point where it's quite bad. They're not even considered to be domestically abused, and unequal pay and all the stuff that the tooltip said at the time. Now, this is, again, bloodish tensions is an issue. So we've got bloodish tensions, going to be an underlying theme unless we can sort this out, I feel. And there's also not only a dispute between the MOD and Mr. Governor of Berger, there's also a dispute between the Supreme Court and the MOD. The Supreme Court and the MOD. That's not good, is it? And we've got human rights issues because our police officers are overzealous. Bit of brutality is happening on the streets. We'll have to stamp that out as well. Right, so that's that. Right, welfare. There's your policies. People are trying to modernise, basically. Is that one? It's a voluntary vaccination programme. Now, I do think about this and think, but this might be spreading disease, mate. Maybe we should make it compulsory if we can. But then there's an old issue with, in the poorer areas, they've got poor medical care, so even if we do mandate it, are they going to be able to access the vaccines? It's all very complicated, as this politics nonsense, isn't it? And the schools are free to teach whatever the hell they please, but that's causing an issue because there's an inconsistent curriculum. Which is one of the problems of welfare. Overburdened welfare system is another one. We're under strain, hence we've cracked down on immigration, if you remember. There's low rural quality healthcare and rural inaccessibility to education. Now, coming from the rural parts of town when we was a wee whippersnapper, that's a problem that's quite dear to our heart. And if we were to prioritise anything in this playthrough, we have to help the rural areas. We have to. Remember that, because your guys, my advisors, remember. Okay, so that was that. And yeah, so we finally go to the order. State security privileges. Special provisions, basically. Not a fan of special privileges, really, but hey. But when it comes to law and order situations, problems, if you will, we have corruption, we have illegal immigration, we have an organised crime problem, the dispute with the Governor of Berger, and there's still an underlying threat from the Bloodish Freedom Front, or whatever they're called, BFF. Best friends forever, not. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Again, bloodish tensions. Maybe easing the bloodish tensions might be a good thing to do. And then finally, diplomacy. We are a member of the AN, a member of the OMEC. No, what are them, you might ask? Don't bother. AN is like the UN, I think, and OMEC is like a tradey thing. And we are currently neutral. Neutrality is the key, whilst we stabilise and get a bit of an even keel, you know. So there is the problems of the state summed up, I hope, it quite succinctly compared to yesterday, as a reminder. Now, we'll see what's going to happen with all of those intricacies as the game progresses. Some youth sparking outside people's houses and causing a commotion. Yes, it sounds like that, and that I wish... I'm not going to say it. It's not. It was going to be a joke, but sometimes you shouldn't joke about certain things. But basically, I hope the police come and sort them out. Yes. Swordland style. No. Gangnam style. Sounds like OPEC. Could be OPEC. But what's OPEC even? What is OPEC? I don't do all this big wig stuff. I'm a simple person. Right, okay, so next thing that I read was, because that took me quite a while to get my head around that, and that was most of my evening. But then I thought, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read up on people that we have met. Because there's a long list of people that have got a codex entry, and you can't read them all at the same time because there's just tons of them. So I thought, when we come across a new person, for whatever reason, then we'll take the time to read about that person, near or after the event. So, obviously, we've met our friend Peter, so we're going to go to the codex. I'm just going to give you a very quick whistle-stop tour of some of the people that we met and a couple of people that we haven't met, but indirectly it might be important to us. And then we'll be ready to start the game. And then there's a lot of towns in here. This is the regional map, the town map, and then we've also got the world map, and so there's lots of countries to also understand and get our heads around. But one thing at a time. I think I've bombarded you enough, so we'll get the people done, and then we'll basically end the turn, I suppose. Hello, Marcus, and hello, JJ. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, one thing about the codex, which I really, really love. It's a simple thing, but there's a search feature. It's just so fantastic. Simple, but so fantastic. So the last thing you want to be doing in a world that is chock full of law, and you're trying to read about the law, is try to find the law. You want to find the law quickly. And what quicker way than a search feature? Good job. Okay, so this is our best mate. This is Peter Vecton. This is a guy that we've met and grown up with. He's a politician, and he's a current vice president, our right-hand man. Current member of the USP, of course, and he's served as an MP up until he's become vice president. How popular is your notebook? It's not bad. It's just got the list of problems on it, and it's got 5 people on it. It's a good start. If this was done by hand on a notepad, it'd be at least 2 pages of notes to start with. Not too shabby. Anyway, Peter is regarded as a charismatic politician, especially known for his laid-back style and charming public personality. So when we're a bit under the weather or can't attend public speaking things, there's the man for the job. And also good for winning people to our side with his charisma, I assume. So we've got to remember to put him to good use if we can. Yeah, remember this symbol. He's married to Evelyn Vecton, who we'll get to in a second. That's his wife. I wonder if him and Evelyn and me and Monica all go out for dinner together, you know, like the old upper class. Yeah. Although we are still a man of the people, but, you know, when you get a bit of money, you've got to enjoy it, you know. Eating away as a foursome. But yeah, Evelyn, who became a controversial figure, we'll read about her shortly. But yeah, so basically he's a centrist. He's among the group of politicians that supported Alfonso against Saul, like ourselves, of course, and campaigned for a change in the party. And is the leading figure behind my campaign. He's credited for large contributions to the campaign and to the party. I mean, if we were to be assassinated, you know, this is the man to carry us forward. But let's not think negatively. Let's not think of death just yet. But it's good to have a man that you can rely on, isn't it? Right, so that's Peter. Peter. I'm going to call it Peter. And his wife, Evelyn Vecton, was an interesting character. Oh, it's not dead. She is an interesting character. Swordist journalist, so can spread the word. Author and school teacher, wife of Peter. To help support her husband, she did end her career as a teacher of literature at the prestigious Halsad State High School. So, in a previous guise, in the early days, she also worked as an editor in the magazine Cosmopolite. And then later joined the Halsad Post as a journalist, where she became known for her pro-government articles throughout the late 40s. She was expelled from the newspaper after defending Alfonso and writing about a conspiracy by the state apparatus. So she's caused a bit of a scandal, as our Evelyn, our right-hand man's wife. Don't rile her up. Good grief. Right. So that was those two. The other person that we saw yesterday was Orso Hawker, who was the head Chief Justice. So his background, it's all very dull, his background, he's just a lawman, isn't he? He's meant to study law and did lawy things. If you're a law person, I apologise. I was a law person. Criminal law, I suppose, was my specialty. So he graduated from a university with a degree on legal theory. Theoretical law. Grief, even more boring. Do you know what? I'm joking. I actually really do like... I find criminal law particularly quite interesting, in fact. From a context of how it applies to modern day on the street activities, like if you're reading about obscure crimes that are still technically crimes, how people could actually commit them and how many crimes people might actually commit without realising it. It's all very interesting. Anyway, I'm digressing a little bit here. But basically, he joined the USP after the coup. He was actually basically around when Swordland was still a kingdom. This is how old this man is. Mind you, it's only the 50s, and this was in the 20s, so it's only 30 years ago. So basically, he's seen it all. He's seen Kingdom Swordland, he's seen Republic Swordland, he's seen Civil War Swordland, he's seen now Stable Swordland, and he's now seen Recession Swordland. He's the one that might as well be the chronicler of this fair nation. So he joined the USP after the coup, was a member of the Assembly, so he's been an MP. Was known to have close ties with Mr. Tarquin Sol, who appointed him Judge of the Second Supreme Court, and then after the death of the first Chief Justice 4 years later he was appointed to his current position. So he's been in this position for just under 20 years. Hello Miss Crusader, welcome. Now the Hawker Court, as in the court that he's presided over, has handed down several landmark rulings that significantly transformed criminal procedure, taxes and other areas of the law. Many of the court's decisions incorporated highly controversial policies of Tarquin Sol, including the approval of the security package laws and ruling that Bloodish Freedom Party entering elections was unconstitutional. So if we had an inkling that we were going to offer an olive branch to the Bloodish people and try to integrate them into society a bit more, stop oppressing them basically, and then have to think about letting them actually enter the elections again, well, this man's alive, that might be a little bit tricky, because he was the one that was in charge when it got enacted. But you never know, we might make him see stuff, if that's a possibility. I'm just hypothesizing at this point, but that's also Hawker. So a couple of little interesting tidbits about him. And then there was two people that I saw in the news articles whose names that I thought, ooh, they could be people that I should get to know a little bit about, because there are political enemy, if you will. So first of all, we have got Kisaro Kibana. Now Kisaro Kibana is a member, or the leader of the National Front Party, which is a far right wing, as you can imagine from the name, party. But despite his views, he's respected by nationalists on both sides of the political spectrum. Okay, so he was enrolled into military school, graduated with an arts degree, as you do, joined the armed forces in 25. And he was announced to, he's been rumoured to have been the actual private who announced General Luderin's military coup against the President Arthur Wishy on radio broadcast. That's quite a claim to fame, isn't it? The old herald here. So that in great fame amongst the populace. So quite a likeable, excuse me, popular man. I might have to get some water. My juice has run out. I seem to have an issue with my throat here. Oh, dear me. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Still a little bit froggy. But anyway, so in essence, he's a likeable fella. In 1930, he founded the National Front Party, together with another group of nationalists from Jen, which is a town, took on a strong stance against immigration during the Wayland Civil War, and was blamed by a significant part of the populace for inciting violence in the city streets against Agno-Swordish and Bloodish people. Okay. So, you know, giving notable support to Young Swords organisation, which was, I think, the nationalist organisation. Maybe that was one that we could join. I can't remember, there was two that we could have joined in the prologue. I think was Young Swords one of them? Could click on it and find out. Anyway, basically he was elected Mayor of Jen. So I think the system is here. Now, again, correct me if I'm wrong if you've played the game, but there seems to be a system of like every town, or maybe just like the major towns. I haven't clicked on every town yet, but every town has a mayor, and the mayor can be from any party. I think that's how it works. Which is like real life in the UK, really, I suppose. Or the mayor's affiliated with parties. Yeah, they are, I'm sure they are. Anyway, the thing that's important about this man is his party is an up-and-coming party. Now, you can read there that it was an attempt on his life, actually. And that boosted his popularity even more, to be honest. It says here, and he used it against the Bloodish people because he's blamed it on them. But basically, the reason why he's head of this National Front Party. Now, this National Front Party is the third biggest party, the second biggest opposition party in the Assembly. It used to be viewed as an extremist party, but it's kind of toned down a little bit to make the party more approachable for a larger audience. But in the last elections, as a result of this slight shift, they achieved their biggest election result in its history. So it's an up-and-coming party. People are beginning to latch onto this party, and it's very far right-wing here. Oh, I don't care what they're saying about, we're toning it down, lads. So that's why he's worth just keeping an eye on. So that was Mr. Kibbener. And then we've got the main man. The main man with the plan. There we go in here. This is the last one, I promise you, and then we're going to start playing. But, you know, I'm trying to hopefully bring it all together for you guys. No, that's the wrong person. Oh, heaven's sake. Franz Richter is a guy. So he is the head of the main opposition. The PIFCHIB, as I'm calling them. PIFCHIB, which is the People's Freedom and Justice Party, but that's a bit mouthful, so the PIFCHIB. Okay. And the NFF, I mean, that is quite easy to say, the NFF, but you might want to just say the NUF. The PIFCHIB and the NUF. Hello, Bacon Mafia. I haven't played those games, no, mainly because the time periods are not my cup of tea. I played plenty of CK2, of course. But yeah, so this guy is the leader of the PIFCHIB, and he's more of a kind of a lefty person, socialist kind of person, I think, and all about the rights and stuff, the human rights. He's that kind of axis. He was a strong critic of Tarquin Sol's policies, and he was quite pro-Alfonso, and he thinks that Alfonso's policies have failed because the government have purposely sabotaged them. So he's not going to like us then, is he? Because we're kind of doing kind of solly things at the minute, you know, like going back to the private market thing, whatever it was called. So he might not be our biggest fan in the end, but anyway, that's him, main opposition man, Franz Richter. And, well, we saw him yesterday, but our bodyguard is Sergei Waltner. I will spare you the codex. We read a little bit, but basically he actually studied to be a police officer. I think he passed out as a police officer, but never became a police officer. Took a special course, became the most kick-ass bodyguard and driver you've ever known. Forget Kevin Costner. All right, this man, we're safe as houses. Right, so there you go, my friends. That is a summary in half an hour, which was supposed to be 20 minutes, but I think I think I've done pretty well there to get all that information in my head since yesterday. I think I've done alright there. But, without further ado, let's press on the exclamation mark and end the day, because we're sat behind our desk and Mr. Peter Vector here has stood there whilst we've been sat here pondering for half an hour. Yes, yeah. And he's like, well, what are we doing? Are we going to do something this evening and celebrate? Oh, sorry about that, Peter. I was just away in a different place. But basically, what's going to happen? Oh, no. Oh, we've got briefings as well. Oh, damn. I thought we were ready to crack on. Right, so basically, what I'm going to do is when we stumble across something that needs to be read, because it's a codex entry that needs to be read, we'll read it. It's just as big as it's going to be. So we'll just read them in real time where we can. And if loads of reports to Starburst and things happen, well, we'll play by ear. But anyway, we have a briefing on the current political situation. Now, I've got a sneaking suspicion that we've briefed ourselves quite well. And the game was probably going to handhold us through the briefing. And we just self-briefed. Because we are Anton Rain. Alright? We're competent. We're a competent president, we like to think. Let's have a look and see if we have... Let's see if Peter tells us something we don't know. Hello, Peter. Struggling to hold back his smile. We're finally here, he's thinking. We did it, Anton. So many people, I can't voice them all, I'm afraid. We won! All those years with our noses to the grindstone. They paid off. Peter's eyes sparkled. The strain of the past months had put a damper on his usual rakish charm, but today he was looking and acting more like his old self. He loosened his tie and undid the top 2 buttons of his shirt. Now, Peter, let's be professional here. Enjoying the new secretary I picked out for you? Thought you'd appreciate her gorgeous set of talents. Paused for comedic effect, did old Peter there. It's a shame the rest of your staff aren't as easy on the eyes. Now, Peter. That's not the attitude to have. It's the 1950s, you know. We're all about the future. He gestured to the slight paunch that protruded over his waistband. But hey, back in university, did you ever imagine we would be sitting here at the Maroon Palace? We have to celebrate this great victory. It does have a major sexism problem, yes. This is what we're trying to stamp out, and it starts with your own staff. Good evening, Nagisa. Unfortunately for you, Nagisa, you've just missed me summarising what happened yesterday in half an hour. Which, to be fair, you might have understood completely what happened yesterday, and you won't need the summary, but there you go. Unless, of course, you did your usual trick and joined late, but did it on 2-speed, which is a handy little trick you do. Right, I'm kicking my slippers off now. Like I said yesterday, or was it Saturday? When the slippers come off, it's because it's time to get serious. Right. Peter wants to celebrate. For one night only, shall we let our hair down? For one time only, because it's going to be hard work from here, we're going to let our hair down. Let me just get this screen right, because it's a bit out of kilter. Right, yep. We're going to crack open the Earleroy Maroon 30-year-old, which I'm assuming is some form of a whiskey, spirit-based thing. But it's 30-year-old, so it's going to be expensive, and it's going to taste like crap. I'm not a fan of, like, age 30 years. It's a bit harsh, isn't it? I'm not a man of refinement. Just give me Morgans, please. Let us celebrate then. I got my hands on something special. Oh, this is just... I've said that. You have to remember that the game says stuff after you've clicked it. You clicking it is not you saying it. Like Baldur's Gate, for example. You press it, you said it. Here, you press it, the game says it as well. Okay, but anyway, after we'd sorted out the confusion, because we both said it at the same time, me and Peter there, we opened this expensive bottle of whiskey. I pour it in 2 glasses, glugs, not little trickles now. We're celebrating being president. 2 big glugs of 30-year-old whiskey. And the smell, I mean, I'm imagining the smell of my favourite spiced rum here, which is Zacapa. Zacapa with a hint of bitters in it. The aroma is absolutely fantastic. That's what I'm imagining that this lovely, exquisite smell of whiskey smells like right now, as it immediately permeates the room. Oh, and you just know you're going to have a tasty drink very shortly as well. Oh. Ching ching indeed. Right, the 1924? That was my freshman year. Also the year after the revolution. Hard times. But this, he takes another whiff of it, smells like heaven. Forget the past, Peter. The future awaits. We clink the glasses. We give each other a little bit of a gesture, whatever the hell that was, and we sip it down. I've been given my own version of what's happening. The game says pretty much what I'm imagining. It's pretty clever, that, isn't it? The sweet vanilla tone combined with an oaky taste developed into a lingering smokiness. Maybe I should just let the game tell the story. Who am I to override the narrative? Peter seemed to be enjoying himself, and why wouldn't you? This scene that's been set, I'd enjoy it. What a taste. He takes another sip. This is how we should start all meetings, Anton, he laughs. Hang on. Frequency of a good thing dulls the good thing. Let's keep it as a treat, and it'll always taste sweet. Honestly, that just came out of my mouth. I don't know what I'm doing. That was not prepared. I didn't mean to rhyme things. Just happened. Right, we wouldn't get much done. That's exactly what I was saying. Remember the last administration? We don't want to be going down that route. Poet day, well, exactly. Ah, dear. Yeah, but we are different. All they did was enjoy the privilege. Is this not a privilege, Peter? Sat here drinking such an exquisite drink with your best friend in the jobs that you've most wanted to do your entire life. Is that not a privilege, Peter, already? Anyway, we can't make the same mistakes again. We learn from it all. I hope so. Because overconfidence is a what? Darkest dungeon. Come on, finish the line, somebody. Right. The music is great, isn't it? The music was great. It is great. The music is fantastic. I didn't actually play it from a Bluetooth speaker whilst I was working yesterday, today, but it's that kind of music that you can just, you could, if you were to be, if I was watching a stream like this at, 11, 12 o'clock at night, watching a VOD of somebody playing this game, music's playing, I just had a drink or two at my mate's house, coming back, feet on the desk, I'd be out in 5 minutes flat. A slow and insidious killer. There we go. Well done, Ollie. Joe, you're just a tad too slow there. Yes, we don't want that happening in our cabinet. That is going to be one of our many mottos. Maybe I should start taking notes in my notebook of these things. Motto number 1, all stolen from other games. Anyway, as we're having this, you know, as I'm trying to press upon Peter that this is an experience that is a privilege and you should learn to appreciate such things, the door swung open, poof, and Lucian Glad, my chief, remember that name now, people. We'll check him out in the codex later. My chief strategist walked in. I think he's a guy with the military uniform, I think he was, anyway. Colonel Glad. He was a compact man with sharp bird-like features. After briefly surveying the room from wall to wall, he sat down, poured a glass of water, and opened his briefcase in a series of quick, graceful movements. Clearly, our 30-year-old special vat doesn't extend to Glad. Maybe it did, and he just, no, I'll just drink water, thanks, because I am a military man. No, I think the special vat is not for the cabinet members, unfortunately. It's a special privilege. Even more special, Peter, remember that. Gentlemen, no, this is not the military man that I was thinking of. This is the man that looks very stern. The tall case clock in the room struck 3. Bong, bing, bing, bong, bing, 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 bong. It's the nose guy, yeah. And then 3 strikes. Dong, dong, dong. We really must get a clock that doesn't do that, says Peter. Oh, but I like the elegance of it. Right, carry on, please, Lucian. Damn, you're exactly on time. Hello, Peter. Lucian then turned towards me. He very slightly bowed his head. How are you, Lucian? Good to see you. Keep it, I mean, he's obviously here on business, but let's put him at ease a little bit. Come on. I am ready and able, sir. Lucian spoke in soft, clipped tones that immediately drew your attention towards what he had to say. Let's start by evaluating our current position. There's not very soft tones, but I don't picture him as a soft tone kind of guy. So forget what the game's telling you. As I said, I'm overwriting the narrative today. Now, tell me something I don't know, Lucian, we're thinking, because we've briefed ourselves here, but go on. The majority of the Swordish people demand change. They are more concerned about the economy than the constitution, but they blame the system for their problems. Change. I promised them change. It's not a problem. Change is on my list. People are losing their trust in our democracy. Why do you think radicals like Bernard Circus are becoming more popular? Everyone's expecting us to bring the change. Last government did not. Who's this guy? Bernard Circus. It's another name to remember. In fact, I might forget that name. I've forgotten the first name, in fact. So, what was the first name? Oh, it's him, Lucian. Okay, so Bernard Circus is a Swordish poet, novelist, short story writer, and communist politician. He is acclaimed for his lyrical flow and was regarded to be the leader of the Swordish avant-garde. His early writings were heavily influenced by the social, cultural, and economic problems of his home city of Dare. Oh, he's from Dare as well, another fellow Darean. Romantic communist was his moniker here. Well, the description anyway. He joined the Red Youth, which is what we joined, I believe, during the Swordish Civil War, and fled Swordland. I think I was. If I click it, it's going to overwrite it. He moved to United Contana. So United Contana is not anywhere on this map. I don't think. So I think he's going to maybe influence things, but from away, from afar. Many of his works are regarded as greatest achievements of the Swordish literature and earned him many awards abroad. Because of his political views, his works have been banned in Swordland since 1930. Oh, God. In 1950, he returned to Swordland following the departure of Sol. He organised strikes against Swordish government's failure to include amnesty laws and started to become a popular figure in Swordish politics. He ran as an independent in the election and became became the first communist to be elected to the Grand National Assembly. So he's an independent assembly member, Bernard Circus, who's quite anti-government. Interesting. Radical indeed. Okay. Franz Richter. Oh yes, well, we know about Franz Richter. We've been briefed, as I said before, Lucian. Yes, but hear me out. He is the leader of the reformists, believes that true change can only be accomplished by transferring some of our powers to the assembly. I will move into the details of their demands shortly. Oh, this could be new. Demands. So it's our responsibility to democratize our broken system. We need to listen to the people if we want to serve this country. If we lose power, we won't be able to execute the... So this is like tyrannical. This is like down the line. This is like completely like let the people decide. We are for the people. That's our motto, isn't it? Was it? Did I make a motto up about the people? For the people, by the people. I don't know. But, we're a people person. But sometimes the people don't always know best, you see. Just because the people want something, they can't see the bigger picture. Change for the future. That's what I said. I should be writing these mottos down on my notepad. Anyway, I don't know if this is going to influence anything if we pick us, because it's kind of like almost like picking our path here. Democracy is an interesting concept, but democracy involves MPs, and MPs, well, you know, in for a penny and all that. But do you know what? Let's go for it. Let's go listen to the people. We have come from nothing. We will listen. We will listen to them. We might not necessarily do exactly everything that they want, but we will listen. It's all about how you twist the words. We're a politician after all. Just be careful with the referenda. Yeah. Yes. Listen to the people. That's exactly what we campaign for, says Peter. Always behind me. The true change that will move the country forward. We will need many allies and the old guard in the government. Now, the old guard is... There's factions, right? This is a screen that I didn't see yesterday. The connections screen. I looked at this part of the connection screen and didn't realise that there was other screens. So factions, we've got 3 factions. We've got the old guard, so I might as well go through the faction screen now, which are solists from the old administration who defend the status quo and promote conservative politics. Some claim that they establish a deep state that controls the state apparatus. Chief Chief Justice Orso Hawker is the head of the old guard. So we've got an old guard in charge of the Supreme Court here. Could be worth noting. We've got the reformists, who are the people that want democratic reform, and they are headed by our leader in the opposition, Franz Richter, leader, of course, of that well-named Pifjib party. And then you've got the oligarchs, who are a few powerful elite people who control the majority of the wealth in Swordland. Their influence, both in and out of the country, has been growing due to the privatisation efforts in the past. And this man, Walter Tusk, is in charge of them. And it's a millionaire businessman, investor. He owns groups. He's a business mogul, basically. He is the Alan Sugar of the world here, if you will. He's got a finger in every pie. Not been on TV yet, but, you know, he's working on it. Okay, so basically we need allies to go against the old guard. Against the old guard. Against the old ways. If we want to listen to the people change properly, then they're kind of saying that we have to embrace the new stuff. Which is kind of an interesting thing, because we've picked planned economy, which is kind of old schooly stuff. So we're kind of fusing. It's a fusion. What better dish have you ever had on a plate that's not some kind of a fusion of two different styles of cuisine? How about two different styles of fusion of policies? I think it'll work. I think so. That's what we'll say when we get on the big, you know, rostrum and giving a speech. We'll bamboozle them with food talk. Compare our policies to food, they'll be on board. Mr. Richter managed to persuade many members of the Assembly to give their support for drafting a new constitution. A new one? Ooh, that's a big thing. Reformist politicians are quickly increasing in number. His voice has changed as well. While the reformist wing inside our party is still a minority, they could have a tri-partisan majority in the Assembly, especially if they unite under Friends Richter. So it's all getting like Game of Thrones now. The USP reformists aren't wrong to agree that we need change, but we should be in charge. Mr. Richter could be a potential ally in our goal to maintain a majority. That's very strange. That just seems really bizarre to me. That concept. Oh, somebody explain this. How this is what? As in, he's the leader of the opposition, but he could be an ally in our goal to maintain a majority. I don't know, but it could be true. Apple pie and custard is a delightful dessert. I'm supposed to be having my dinner in about 10 to 15 minutes, and it's Chinese chicken curry with, I think, with noodles. So I do like a bit of Chinese chicken curry, homemade, of course, with the goldfish curry sauce paste. The Chinese goldfish curry sauce paste. Just mix it with water. I put a little bit of chicken stock in it, just a bit extra salt because I love salt. Mix that in a pan with boiling water, get it to a thick saucy consistency, and then taste it. And don't tell me it does not taste like curry sauce from the Chinese, because it does. It is. If you love curry sauce on your chips, like Chinese curry sauce on your chips, which might seem like a strange concept to many people, but up here in the north, we put curry sauce on chips. But that Chinese curry sauce that we make at my friend's house sometimes, we've got the paste, and put that on your fish and chips. Absolutely delicious. Right, complex political concepts elude me, as they do me. If you can't rely on your own party, sometimes an external partner can help. Could be a sign of weakness. It does have a price. Everything has a price, doesn't it? Right, okay. Should we just go down the neutral route then, and just go down like the, you know, we're just going to be democratic about things. That's as much as we can say. Oh, but that's not an option, is it? Our party must fall in line with our position. We can't have a strong divide. USP reformists don't want to agree that we need to change, but we should be in charge. Mr. Richter could be potential ally. Goal is to maintain a majority in December. I'm kind of going. Well, I don't know how it's going to work in a game concept, but this is an interesting one. The thing about Mr. Richter also is when I was reading Mr. Richter and his kind of viewpoints, I'm like, yeah, that's our viewpoints as well. You know, some of his stuff that was on his codex, I was like, yeah. You know, we're kind of a similar ilk. So when I've read that yesterday, and was thinking that anyway, that he's quite a similar fella to us in some respects, in terms of his outlook on policies. Not all of them, of course, but some of them. Perhaps it could be a potential ally. I don't know how it's going to work for us or against us or what, but at a time of need, if we can see eye to eye on something, it could be a game changer. He is definitely key in this. The reformist demands are clear. They want to limit the president's veto powers, ensure that the Supreme Court is independent, and take away the court's right to vote on constitutional amendments. Let's not get a bit extreme there. I mean, these checks and balances are in place for a reason. Ooh, I support the reformists. We need a proper balance of power. Actually, to be fair, Supreme Court is USP heavy, right? We've got obviously the majority vote as well. So if the Supreme Court is politically aligned, I think they are politically aligned. Then, when it comes to putting things through, you know, a bit of backhanders. Mind you, if it gets through the House in the first place, I'm trying to think of a situation where it hurts your head, all this political thinking, doesn't it? Right. We must listen to their demands. Otherwise, we are no different than the previous administrations. I won't allow them to influence me. We will shape our own future. A balance of power is not bad. I don't know how we're going to achieve that, but a balance of power that's not top-heavy one way or bottom-heavy the other way. A balance of power cannot be a bad thing, surely. I agree. We can't ignore the winds of change, after all. The old guard will do its best to preserve the Constitution. Chief Justice Hawker and his allied judges have a great influence over the Supreme Court, which will be tough to break. Now, I obviously didn't go much further in the connection screen, but there is another two tabs that I was supposed to show you. One of them is this tab, which is the makeup of the Grand Assembly. We have, of course, a majority with 130. Remember, 150 signatures for a constitutional change need to go, so we do need some support on that one. Opposition, PFJIB, with 70 seats. The NFP, National Front Party, probably. Oh yeah, it's the other guy's party, the right-wing guy. 40 seats and 10 independent seats. And then we've got some notable members, which again, we'll just come across them when we do. We're not going to read everything. And then we've got the judiciary. This is the judiciary screen. So actually the Supreme Court, I don't think is politically aligned, actually. I think the Supreme Court is aligned by the, oh Jesus wept, is aligned by faction. So Supreme Court is faction aligned. And there's 5 old guard Supreme Courts, Supreme Justices, and there's 3 centrists, and there's 3 reformists. This is the current makeup of the factions within the Supreme Court. The court also has the final say over our constitutional legislation. Without their approval, we cannot even change it. So we've read about that. It's the all 150 signatures, blah blah blah, majority vote in the Supreme Court. They are the last step, the last hurdle. We must break the power of the Supreme Court, not go against them. Yeah, we just need a comprehensive bill, says the President here, as if he's going to write it. Somebody somewhere is going to have to come up with, on my behalf, because this is what I want, and I'm the President, a comprehensive bill to balance the power structure more fairly. Well, go back again.
We've been there for 2 weeks now.
I've not got. Let me. I'll speak to you later.
You might as well get something around now because we're here for an hour.
Well, message him on Facebook. It's like just tell him to send him your number. So tell him to send your number on Facebook. The car is back again. Every night. So now she wants to speak to one of my old colleagues who we know. Because obviously speaking to the switchboard 101 number, you get through, we'll put it as intelligence, or we'll put it, no one's going to come and visit us. But if we put use some former colleague contacts and say, excuse me, Mr. P, we have a problem. Can you send somebody around to speak to us, please? Come round yourself for a cup of tea if you want. I've got something that needs addressing. I want regular patrols here in the evening, because it's something's going on. So that's the plan anyway. But yeah, right. So yes. So as I was saying before the knock on the door happened, we need a comprehensive bill that somebody else is going to write for us. All the legal loopholes. We're an economist, not the legal person, so we need some legal mastermind to do their stuff and make sure that the comprehensive bill balances the power more fairly. This is the power of having a strong team behind you. You just have the ideas as the leader. I've got an idea, and I need it to happen, so I'm going to practice the art, one of the leadership concepts called delegation. Off you go. I'm just the ideas man. The old guy don't like it. We're going to have to lump it, aren't they? A comprehensive reform that would make the reformists happy would mean maintaining a balance between all branches of government, which means removing our absolute veto as well. The reformists demand that all loopholes in the Constitution are closed. Presidential veto. Oh. Looks like we've got a few challenges ahead. We cannot allow obstructionists to exist. We can't underestimate the situation. I don't think, are any of these making a decision here? And what decision are they making? It's not very clear. So I just think, yeah, we do have challenges ahead. We will address the challenges head on. We will achieve positive change. I keep saying it to myself, I'll believe it. You're right, we can figure this out. Our party still holds 130 seats of the 250. We have got the power. Just hang on, this is the mantra, Peter, that I have to get you out of the mind or set of power. We have the power. It's not about we have power here. Okay, get out of the mindset. Power hungry man. Sorry to interrupt your domestic here, but to reform the Constitution we must receive a 2/3 majority in the Grand National Assembly, which is 166 votes, and a simple majority in the Supreme Court that equals to 6 votes. Yes, this feels very different context, of course, but this feels to me very much like a film I watched on the way back from Mexico, a film called Lincoln. Because Lincoln obviously wanted to abolish slavery, which was obviously some kind of constitutional amendment or something. Again, American history, not my forte here, but obviously he had to fight and go through the assembly and go through the rigmarole and of getting it passed. And this almost feels a little bit like that. Lincoln is a very good movie, in fact. It's very rare that I watch a movie and think to myself, that was absolutely fantastic. Not many movies do that to me. But I sat there after it finished on the plane, and I thought, now that was a corker of a film. And I thought, and I googled it when I landed in Manchester. I googled it. I thought, this has got to have won some awards because this was fantastic. And in fact, I can't remember the name of the actor, but he's retired now, funnily enough. What's he called? Darren something? Darren Day. Darren Day. Daniel Day-Lewis. He played Lincoln. I mean, not as if we know what it was like when he was alive, but we're going off records and people's writings, and people have said he pulled it off really well, very well. Oh, it was a stunning performance. And indeed, I think he won an Oscar for that film. But the film certainly won stuff. But I think he won an Oscar for the film. Because I was saying I was googling it when I got to Manchester. So yeah, I was like, yeah, I can see it. I've actually watched an Oscar film that didn't feel like an Oscar film, if that makes sense, because some Oscar films feel like Oscar films. You know what I mean? They feel like, oh, this is an Oscar film. This. To me, that just felt like an absolutely fantastic historical biopic that happened to win an Oscar. Oh, this throat of mine today is not good, is it? I think it's all the reading. Hang on, folks. Was it a Spielberg movie? I can't remember, actually. It might have been. Tarantino movie. Gangs of New York was on 2 nights ago, wasn't it? Was it on the weekend? I think Gangs of New York was on... I would like to suggest Saturday. So it's funny that you should mention it, actually. Unless that's why you mentioned it. But it's one of the films that I've not seen. I've seen many films, but I've not seen so many classics that I should really have seen. There's just tons of them, absolute tons. But anyway, this is the political process for getting the Constitution amended. We need to talk with our party members. We need to get 100. So our first task. This is essentially. I might have to end the stream, you know, guys. This is essentially our first major. This is exactly like Bloody Lincoln. This is our first major objective. If we want to change the Constitution, we're going to have to do some political wrangling. We need 150 signatures. Oh, we're off. Following the green light from the USP, we will reach out to the other party leaders to see if they would back our draft. This shouldn't be difficult to pass because the leader of the opposition, Piff Jib, wants reform. So his party are going to sign for this. The difficulty is going to be getting it through the Supreme Court because they're old guard heavy. Now I'm seeing why the Supreme Court could be an issue and why they want to get them out of the equation. And now I'm seeing it. Do you know what? I really like this game. I'm probably going to be playing it twice as long as the average playtime of the normal person because we're going off on some wild tangents here. But this game is very well done. This process will take a long time, but we must start working with a reform committee to evaluate all possibilities for a new constitution as soon as possible. Yes. That's what you are doing, yes. Just come to me with the important stuff, because I just sign things and have the ideas, yes. I've come up with the idea of reform, now you go and do the reform. We will write a more democratic constitution with the reformists. The new constitution should give the president wide-ranging powers to lead Swordland into the future. We could work with the old guard to protect our existing. So this is what we are wanting: full democratic constitution reform. This is us, dictator in charge here. So thank you very much. And this is protecting kind of our existing extensive powers as a party-heavy approach, I suppose. Old guard, old ways kind of situation. No. We're going all in with this one. That's what we've been preparing for internally. Don't forget, that's the promise that got us elected. That's right. That's where the slogan came from yesterday. It was during our political address to the people. Now, what did I say it was? We got lost in the moment. We've forgotten. That's what we have note takers for. What did I say in that speech that was so memorable? Oh, that was it, yes, thank you. The key thing here will be strengthening the power of the Assembly, which we already lead with the majority. Peter nods. Yes, we need to rebalance the power. According to the initial draft we made with the reformists, there are 2 changes to the Constitution that are not open for their discussion. Oh, they're bargaining, are they? Yeah, slogans, promises, into a notebook, definitely. Okay, what are they bargaining with? Lucian opened his dossier. First, the Supreme Court will no longer vote on constitutional amendments. What would the Supreme Court do then? If we take that away from them, they'd have to do the day job, wouldn't they? They do other stuff as well, don't they? They do like lots of lawry stuff, like appeals and stuff and all that kind of jazz. Right, okay. No longer vote on constitutional amendments. That is what we were hoping to achieve. That's one of the kind of rebalancing of the powers, isn't it? And yeah, they want to take away your veto and replace it with a limited veto system by fixing the current loopholes. I mean, obviously we've not had to veto anything because it's our first day, and we're trying to think to ourselves, when would the power of a veto be useful? That taking it away is so bad. And even though the veto is a veto, it still was with consequences. Because it could... What was the veto power thing? It was a legal thing, right? The veto stuff. Yeah. So we can veto a bill by returning it to the Assembly with a written statement. So it goes through, the bill goes through, and we can say, nah, mate, have a listen and rethink that one. The veto power serves as a check and balance mechanism, allowing the President to express concern and initiate further deliberations. Now, it doesn't say that they can't come back and say, you know what, we thought about it, we still want it. But anyway. Oh, so it's to supervise that nobody of power infringes the Constitution. In this case, it also works as an extra measure that the Constitution cannot be changed easily, or against their wishes. Depends which way you look at it. Okay. I have no problems with either of those points. Let's work with the reform. Now, I'm thinking that this is probably going to be going against a lot of our party and what they think. Or is it? Because the party shifted a little bit towards Alfonso policies, which are about change. One wing of our party supports. One wing. Only just the one wing. So we're going to have to win our party round as well, essentially, then, aren't we? How many wings are there? If there's 4, we're a bit buggered, aren't we? We've got a quarter of them. Right. If it's 2 wings, we're 50-50, we're alright. Okay. Yes, sir. We will form a reform committee together with all parties and start reaching out to all the stakeholders in the Assembly and the courts for a new constitution. That sentence sounds to me like work. It is the exact spiel that I expect to come out of somebody's mouth at work, that. Yeah, we'll get this committee together, we'll start reaching out to stakeholders. No! Don't use stakeholder word. It reminds me of work. Yeah. Well, we are anticipating a tough time. Change doesn't come easily. And we're in it for the long haul. We're in it. We're going to face it through thick and thin. We could be a president for the history books if we pull this off. Not that we're doing it for that reason, of course, but can you imagine it? what's our name again? Anton Rain. 3 terms and he called it a quits because he didn't want to suffer the same fate as Saul, but in his 3 terms he pulled a blinder. Okay, so they'll update us later in the year about what other ultimatums are being proposed. Lucian took some notes. Okay, so that's just one point that we've just literally taken probably ages to go through. What is the average playtime for this, by the way? You're going to be how long to beat it for me? How long to beat? Average kind of completionist playthrough. If we go by the completionist playthrough, that's the slowest playtime, which will cover me. And then what's the average time for that? Can somebody check that out for me, please? I'm just intrigued as to how slow I can go, because if it's like, oh, you know, the completionist takes about 20 hours, oh, I better get a move on then. Average is 11. Is that completionist? Oh, so I can talk for ages then. I'm getting 5 streams out of this. 5 streams. Right, thank you, Ollie, very much for that as well. Oh, 26. Oh, Jesus, now you tell me. Right, okay. I was aiming for about 15. So I better slightly move quicker. Anyway, another important point, says Lucian Galland. We must be aware of the Lotherberg Group. The oligarchies convene under this organisation to influence economic policies. Conrath led it for a long time before falling ill. The new leader is Mr. Walter Tusk, aka Alan Sugar. According to reports, some members of the National Business Council are in their pockets. Tusk and the group will surely try to bribe us in exchange for special economic protections. Now, the National Business Council is the official government structure that includes most of the leading business leaders of Swordland. 2 sectors coming together. So the fact that this group have this official kind of government structure in the palm of their hands don't sit well with me either. Don't sit well with me either. That's a bit harsh. That I'm on board with. We will not be bought. We will not be bribed. It will not happen. Alfonso said the same thing. I doubt there was anybody else to turn to in his case. As far as I know, Marcel Caronti has some strong ties to this group. His influence could definitely be an asset for us. But I'm sure he'll want something in return. So who's this guy? Swordish businessman, philanthropist, entrepreneur, son of media proprietor Conrad Caronti. Operates an advertising company, the largest advertising company in the country. A board member of the HOS. The Swordish version of the BBC here. He joined. Hotel chains as well. This man's got many pies going on. So he's got strong ties to the group. Clearly he's a very wealthy person. But again, if we want these services to get them to kind of come to where our way of thinking, then we might have to do something for him. Oh, so God. That group is dependent on our economic policies. They can't move a finger without us. No, but they could leave the country. Then where would we be? What we're saying here, what we're saying. Could come in handy. That means we're going to use Mr. Caronti's wide network to our favour. But again, it's kind of the same principle. But we... Okay, we're going to go down this line. They need us as much as we may need them occasionally. I wouldn't be so optimistic. The capital they represent could do a lot of damage if it was diverted. That was my first thought. They could always stop and leave. We need to tread carefully on all sides with all power players to survive our term. I need to underline the seriousness of the situation. I mean, we're in a recession after all. Let's not tick off the wealthy people that are providing most of the wealth to our country. What time am I streaming until? My plan is to stream until no later than 10:30, probably 10, just because the game's got a lot of talking in it. So the streams generally have to be shorter than the usual ones. As you can tell from my voice, for example. The military and the general staff are a powerful element in the state. And as history tells us, a dangerous one too. We do have some room to make some structural changes by reducing their budget, for example, but it is quite limited. Oh boy, a military decision. Jesus wept. We could listen to their advice first. Interesting. Don't want to die in prison. With the Rumberg threat on the horizon, we can't reduce our defence capability and anger our general staff. Our army's under-tooled. Outdated weaponry. So underfunding it at this point would make that worse, I assume. But we do want to stop him interfering in politics, but cutting funding won't necessarily achieve that. So I don't think cutting funding is necessary. I think we'll listen to their advice first. Let's parlay with them, let's speak with them, see what they have to say, and then we'll make a decision. They might actually provide us advice that's very sage, and we like the sound of it. Let's it's all about collaboration. This. Working in unison. We're embracing that openness and let's talk rather than us dictate. How about that? Yes, it is sound to listen to them, but they have very biased and narrow opinions. Nationalism clouds their minds. General Kruger is a spectre of the past. Now this is the man with the stripes, right? 4-star general, current chief of the armed forces. Read about his military exploits later. Defence Minister Iosef Lancia is more loyal to us compared to General Kruger. A fact that obviously can change with our actions. Either way, I see a potential rift between the two, since they are clearly of different minds. If we act strongly against the military, both of those guys will unite against us. I agree with Lucian. We need to tread carefully here. Oh, Lucian checks his watch. Yeah, good. Get out. You're bringing me nothing but problems, Lucian. Where's the solutions? Well then, gentlemen, precisely 30 minutes, I believe I had. This concludes our political briefing for today. Our next meeting will be about our media strategy. Oh, I look forward to it. Thank you very much, Lucian. The man that brings the good news. Talk to you soon, sir. I will keep in touch. See you both at our next meeting. Both Lucian and Peter bid their farewells and they leave. We sigh and sit back in our chair and look outside and see a mysterious amount of smoke rising far away in the horizon. 6 foot, what the hell is that? What's going on? What's going on indeed? Smoke is happening and we don't know what's happening with the smoke. Right, okay, hang on a second. We've got some pings and some pongs going on here. Right, let's take a peek. Overview. Law. Policy change. Bingo bango. We have created a reform committee. Okay, so a reform committee has been convened to engage in extensive discussions on the potential revisions and updates to the Constitution. This includes this inclusive dialogue involves representatives from all political parties within the government, providing an opportunity for comprehensive constitutional review and reform. Our focus of this term was education. Education. See you later, Ollie. Have a good night. Thinking it's 9 o'clock and where's my curry? Oh, bloody dry mouth. That's probably part of my problem. I should probably have filled my water bottle up with some liquid so I could drink it whilst talking through this game. But anyway, the committee is a go. Very good. Right, let's have a look at what's going on here. So we've got two gold clipboard items. No, they're all gold when you get to them eventually. Okay. Good stuff. Right. Another interesting piece of information that I'll just feed in from my looking yesterday, just for those of you that might not be aware. There are two fellow countries that are friendly with us at the moment. The rest are neutral and one is hostile, or not hostile but unfriendly. So first of all, Rumberg, as we know, there's a bit of an issue at Rumberg. So they're unfriendly. They've got the massive military force, very military place, and its leader of the country is actually Beatrice Livingston, who's actually in quite a nasty piece of work when we eventually read about her properly. But yeah, so they're unfriendly. And Agnolia are friendly. They are in the north-east. Yep. And the other friendly people, all the way down here, in a little republic island country, almost like the Caribbean. Republic of Kairoot are also friendly as well. So that's, I just thought I'd give you a little rundown there on that stuff, just in case you were interested. Right, let's start with ones that are, no, let's start in here. So this is Groony. There was a problem in Groony somewhere, I think, was there not? Have I got it on my notes? No, I don't think there was any issues with Groony as far as I could see. I think maybe just like a stall or a neutral situation there. But anyway, let's have a look at the report. Nature Preservation March. The Nature Preservation Foundation in Leyren has organised a march promoting ecological practices and nature preservation. The event witnessed significant participation, demonstrating the local community's commitment to environmental issues. This peaceful demonstration has successfully raised awareness about Leyren's unique biodiversity and environmental challenges. Local authorities have noted the event and the message conveyed by the foundation. Interesting. Can only be a good thing. So this is the town Leyren that was talked about in the Groony region. They've got a national front mayor. Oh dear. It's not a bad thing necessarily. Massive Swordish population. Massive Dastnurity religious population. We'll read more about religion later as well, I assume. But anyway, so there you go. That's Leyren's makeup. And we'll just read about it because it's good. I just like immersing myself in the world, you see. So, situated on the hilly and shrub-filled Groony countryside is Leyren. One fine solitude here is unlike any other place. It's not about the geography, but about the philosophy. Upon entrance, one notices that life flows much slower. People aren't stressed, nor much concerned about what is happening in the country or in the world. The city is famous for the variety of healing herbs it grows thanks to the unique climate conditions. These ingredients are sold to pharmacies in the region and beyond. The idea of the slow city came from the successful Mayor Delmond Locke. His municipal administration set a new standard on how to properly utilise city funds to the benefit of people. Instead of wasting funds on luxurious cars, bodyguards and estates, he spent them on aiding the poor, building more recreational areas and reducing the price of local public transport. Within 1 decade, the amount of people coming to the city tripled, and the ones leaving. Lyran became the quiet alternative to Benfey. That sounds like a rather delightful place. Interesting. Okay, so we've learnt about one of the cities or towns in our country. There are many more to learn about, and we shall learn about them in due course. But for now, we have more reports to read. So, this is Dare. This is our hometown. Oh, bad news in Dare, unfortunately. It's going to be bad news for a little while, I think, in the early stages of this game. The region of Bergia is among the worst hit regions in Swordland, where homelessness has skyrocketed since the economic recession. The number of homeless in the city of Dare is more likely to have increased by 25% in the last year. The rise was particularly stark among Bloodish people, where homelessness increased by 72% in just 6 years. It is reported that homelessness among ethnic minorities has reached the highest level in more than a decade. The Bloodish minority of the region now account for up to 47% of all homeless people there. Right, I'm just going to go get my dinner, get myself a drink, and then we're going to continue on in delving in. I'll let you read this report in my absence, and I can read it in my head, and then we can move on swiftly. Okay, I'm back, and would you believe it, folks? Good news. A rarity. We have found hang on a second, bear with me. I've got a very sensitive tooth. I've needed to do this for a while, and I put it off, but I think I need to book a dentist appointment because I've got a sneaking suspicion. If I don't need root canal, I'll certainly need a filling. It's really sensitive to the point where literally if I put something hot or cold on it and it catches it at the wrong angle, it is like I'm having the drill in my tooth where it hits the nerve. That's how bad it feels. Anyway, we have got gas. New gas field discovered which could help with, of course, enhancing our energy supply. So that's some good news to actually look forward to. Right, so that is everything in terms of the reports. We are briefed and we are up to speed with things. Yeah, we're up to speed with everything that we need to do. Oh no, don't say that to Catherine, please. The first root canal I was fortunate because when I had it my tooth was already dead. So it was painless. This one is still very much alive. I can feel it. Maybe I should do exactly the same that I did with the one up here and give this another 6 months to a year so that this is completely dead and then get it done. You know, soldier on through the pain and the sensitivity and then eventually the tooth will die, and as long as you don't leave it too late till it starts turning black and you have to have it out, go for root canal. And then it's painless. There's my not handy tip for you guys. Don't do that. Gas and air. Did it send you loopy? I've never had gas and air. Does it send you doolally? What does it mean? I think it just relaxes you, doesn't it? Like off you go, dentist. I am in Jamaica. In my mind, of course. Right, whole sword. Things are happening. Now, is just briefing on the current economic situation. Is this a new briefing? Let's read the reports. And I think the briefing advances the time, and I think the reports can be read. I think that's what's happening here. It was amazing. Really? Did you have gas and air as well as an injection? I might ask for gas and air next time I go. I mean, I've had root canal without, obviously just the injection, but we're like, oh, I've got a phobia of you because you're a dentist, and I just don't like dentists, I'm afraid. So I'm sorry about that. But also the procedure, fills me with dread. Can I have gas and air, please? You don't seem to be portraying signs of sweaty palms and fear and sweat on the brow. Well, I'm a very good actor. They don't bother you. To be fair, I don't want to say it because when I have another one, it will be... I've heard from people that injections in certain places in the mouth are extremely painful. But thankfully the two that I've had, and I've had one in the roof of the mouth as well, which is supposed to be quite a painful place to have it, but it was fine. I just put it in, I didn't feel it. But yeah, the one for the root canal, I had that, didn't feel a thing, and the one for my crown went in. I had two. One went in the top of the roof of the mouth, and I was like... I felt her pushing it in, like pressure, but I didn't feel any sharp pain, any needle type pain. It was just like a ooh kind of thing. They put the gel on, the gel to numb, the numbing gel. Yeah, they put the numbing gel on. So that's why you don't feel it. Oh, is that, yeah, the numbing gel works a charm. Yeah. The one dentist that I've got now, she's nice, but she's a bit slapdash. And what I mean by that is she's just water flying all over. She's off like the clappers, and I'm like, just slow down, love, slow down. I know you've got like 50,000 patients to get through because it's an NHS dentist, and therefore you get 10 minutes per appointment or whatever it is. And you've got to go. But this is my teeth. You mess them up, I'm suing you because there's no replacing them, is there? I don't want bloody implants in. Anyway, sorry, it's dinner time, so it's flim-flam time for a bit. Let's carry on. So the GNA Prepares Tourism Act. The Grand National Assembly, which is us, the government, is readying the Swordland Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act. This act aims to enhance the cultural and tourism appeal of several cities, including Borin, Ribéry, Lochhaven, Anrica and Benfey, in a collective push to make Swordland a global tourist destination. So if you remember, one, oh, it's not on my problems list because it wasn't a problem, but it was like average tourism. Not great tourism, average tourism. Not bad tourism, average tourism. So this is hoping to push a bit more tourism through a Cultural Tourism and Preservation Act. Okay. Let's hope I hope so as well, but because I've left it so long, there's only so long it can go before you need it, isn't it? So if I do need it, it's purely my own fault, because I remember mentioning this to you guys last year when I was having issues with this tooth, and I was like, I've got to book the dentist, but I just keep putting it off. So it's probably been at least 6 months that I've had this issue. But anyway, there you go. And logistical issues. There's a lot of reports because we skipped the reports last time because I misunderstood the mechanic. In a recent update from Holsworth, the Mayor expressed growing concerns about escalating traffic congestion. We know about this, thank you. Traffic volumes have increased, slowing of transportation routes, and the most pressing issues. The Mayor stressed that the lack of a comprehensively designed large-scale land-based logistics hub serving as a converging point for all transporters is exacerbating the issues faced by the domestic transporters. Given our status as a sprawling metropolis, the current situation where transporters have established separate centres across 10 different districts is inefficient. Okay, thanks for the logistical update, thank you very much. Let's just put a bit more meat on the bones. I know there's a transport links problem, but that is the precise nature of the problem given to us there. Right. Police report on HSU fire. A fire broke out at the Academic Administration building of the Holsworth State University. Initial report from the Chief of Police indicates a near to complete destruction of employee records from 1890 until now. Clearly GDPR was not a thing back then. 6 years, my friends. Unless you've got special dispensation. Until now, along with original copies of internally recognised academic research destroyed. The extent of the damage is worse than expected. It's quite a tragedy. How many flipping things are there? Right, public opinion. People's views on the need for democratic reform in the government structure has changed over the last decade. Reformist propaganda from the leader of the People's Picture Friends Richter Party have resulted in a massive increase in the demands for democratic reforms. 55% of the population supports the reformist ideas. So, there you go. 55% of the populace. It's a start, isn't it? Seeing as we are leading on this, really. I mean, they all say, yeah, we want reform. We have to give the final say. If I'd have turned around and said no, then it wouldn't be happening, would it? Not without a fight on their part, and well, we've got the majority, so good luck with that. But we're not. We're embracing it. So there you go. So 55% of you need to support me at the next election. Anton Rain. There's 4 years to go yet. There's 4 years for us to muck up. The General Staff, which is the people that run the military, the strategists. All branches of the Swordished Armed Forces were represented in the meeting that took place at Camp Strongarm. Oh, I've never read about that before. What's that? We'll read about that in a second. The Chief of the Armed Forces, Walter Kruger, made a public press statement highlighting the increasing chances of military confrontation in eastern Makopa and requested support to strengthen the military, not cut its budgets. The advice is going to be, I can predict it now, right, this is Camp Strongarm, largest military base in the country. It's in the heart of the city as well. 3 divisions, 50,000 soldiers. A military air base housing 100 warplanes. It was created by Colonel Sol. Currently it protects the government. And we can redeploy from there quite quickly, but with old-fashioned weaponry. Hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. It's time for us to advance time once again. But I'm just going to eat a couple more mouthfuls. This is the worst game to play when you've got food. I should probably just say, can I have 5 minutes and eat? And I'll come back to you. But then I just insist on eating as I'm moving. But briefing on the current economic situation. So I'm going to take at this moment in time. No, I'm not. It's 9:15. Let's carry on. Right. What we're going to do is I'm going to spare you my narrative on this one, as much as it might enhance your experience. It enhances mine for personal pleasure. But you just read as we're going. You read. I'll give you time to read, and then we'll progress. Which is going to be a ball ache if you're listening to this whilst doing something, because you can't read, can you? But hey. Not for the entire lot, I'm just going to take a few mouthfuls. Okay, so I come back to you at a pivotal decision. So we got the blurb. Basically, it's all doom and gloom. Recession's up, national debt's up, unemployment's at 16%. Bloody hell, it's just all doom and gloom, literally. For day to day, there's a big pile of it. I've eaten all of it. I should not have done that. My stomach is not used to eating big portions because I've my healthy eating since the start of Jan. That's probably the biggest pile of food I've eaten since that. Other than the wings, but even when I had the unlimited wings, I didn't have like 5 platefuls, did I? So actually, rather overdone it, I think. But it was. I've just realised something. I thought I was having chicken curry, and it was chicken chow mein. Just like, well, chicken with just like noodles and chicken in a sauce. It wasn't the Chinese curry sauce that I was, waxing lyrical about earlier. That would have been delicious with chicken and a bit of rice. Far smaller portion than that. Oh, but it was nice. It was nice. Anyway, our decision. It's not helping my throat much. Is, do we return to Solonomics? Nationalise everything? Or do we continue down Alfonsonomics, which is press on with the privatisation? Now, my thought process is things always go round in full circle. No matter what it is, if you've been in a job long enough, you'll have seen practices come, practices go, and then that same practice come round again, as if it's a new idea. The best thing since sliced bread. Oh, we'll do it this way. Yeah, that's how we did it 5 years ago, if you remember. Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Well, it's a good idea to do it now, though, isn't it? Oh, yeah, it is actually, but still. It's exactly what happened at work about 3 weeks ago. But anyway, I digress slightly. One of our main promises was to promote a planned economy to stop the recession. To be frank, I still don't think this was a good idea. I didn't ask for your opinion, did I? We should go back to Solonomics, says Gus. It is the reason of the recession. Self-sufficiency will help us in tough times. Simon is clearly not happy, but we outnumber him 3-1. What are the downsides of a planned economy? We should know this because we are an economist. Oh, Gus is against it. Sorry, we shouldn't go back. I thought I said we should. We shouldn't go back to Solonomics. It's the reason of the recession. Oh, so it's basically one apiece then. She's abstaining. Somebody's abstaining. He's chirped up. Anyway, seeing as these are the experts, we will ask, just in case we haven't thought of them all ourselves, you see, what are the downsides of a planned economy? Because we've already committed to it, so we might as well know what lie ahead, what challenges. It is clear that most of the state corporations and other government control systems are less efficient. The government of Swordland and its institutions or corporations have a solid history of delivering, says Lilia. She's offended. The structural problems of Solonomics were going to lead to a recession according to the predictions at the time anyway. Either way, even if we pick one of the doctrines, we retain the option to make economic choices on a case-by-case basis. That is, however, not recommended in my point of view. The last thing we need is a chaotic economic plan. Just look at Liz Delettis. Who remembers that debacle? Car crash quasi. Finally, something we can both agree on, Willius. There is another important point which has a direct impact on our economy. Superpowers. Oh, have you got some, have you? That must be useful. Can you conjure money out of thin air? We have done well not aligning ourselves with any one of them. Economically speaking, an isolationist policy overall could only work if we were to reap the benefits of both spheres and their rivalry. This is very dangerous to attempt, but still possible. Ooh, that's an interesting approach to economy, isn't it? Is that a real? That must be a real thing. I've never thought about economy until all this stuff started happening with the cost of living crisis, and then you start reading on the news when some of the more in-depth articles about, you know, how the economy works, and it's actually really fascinating. If I had the patience to study economics, I'd be quite tempted. But as if I've got time to start studying anything. My time of life. But I do. When I read about economics and how the certain things and all interact with each other, and some people that just think, you know, oh, just do that, do that, I'll print more money, that'll work. You're like, well, actually, if you look at this and bit like that, bit that, it won't work. That's why it won't work. Oh, interesting. I didn't think of it like that. No, because you're not an economist. You're just Joe Blogs on the street, so I forgive you. But yeah, it's really interesting. Really interesting stuff. And we are going to skirt danger. We must be very cautious. There are schemes being devised about Swordland. We cannot give in to their wants now or in the future. Otherwise our country will turn into a pawn. Saul was all right all along with his policies. Time will show if staying neutral will work out. That almost sounds like, well, time will tell. Let time take its course. No, we need to shape it, don't we? We need a bit more of gumption of a response. Swordland will not be controlled by any nation. We might be if we get overrun, invaded rather, overrun. Same principle. There is actually an economics book called "Can't We Just Print More Money?" It's a good intro into the field. Really, let me write that down. I'm serious. If I could read an economics book on my next holiday to Turkey in March, which is not a long way away. That could be the book that I'm going to read on holiday. Let me just write it down. Hang on, I've got a notepad on my screen. Why am I getting pen and paper out? Hang on a second. Let's put in use of it. Can't we just print more money? This is my holiday read for Turkey. 100%. Forget Witcher. I didn't read Witcher on the last holiday either because I just didn't read at all because it was Mexico and I was having a whale of a time. Right. Excellent. I shall check that out. Thank you for that, Oliver. Much appreciated. Right, what we're saying. That sounds like we're open to a bribe. Not interested. I don't like that option. Sol was right all along. I'm not really doing it because Saul was right all along. We're forging our own path here. You know, there might be some Saul policies we go for, but there might be some non-Saul policies. You know, Saul wouldn't be maybe so adverse, so happy with having the Constitution amended to make it more reformist. You know, more you know, whatever we're doing. More free, you want more power, less power at the top thingy. So we're going to say that one. Precisely my point. We will stand strong and show an example to the world. Humble bundle. Oh no. 18 bucks for $18. Where? What's a humble bundle? I don't have Humble. Is Humble an app or something? $18. Personal finance, invest. I've never. Is Humble Bundle the gaming site? I've heard of Humble Bundle. I can't even say the damn word. Humble Bundles before. It must be gaming if I've probably heard of it then. But why is there books on it? And how do I get Humble Bundle? I want that. I'm actually quite interested in buying that. I find personal finance books. I've never read many. In fact, hardly any. But, yeah. If I was to start reading economics, it would make sense to branch out and read about other aspects of the financial world, like investing and personal finance. It could come in handy. Are those books e-books, Nagisa? Because if they're in dollars, they're probably coming from far away, and I don't want to wait for them. Oh, it's a website that bundles things for charity. Oh! Can you put a link in the Discord? I think you can put a link in the Discord as a community member. Can you put a link in the Discord for me, please? In the live stream chat, because it's topical. Economics, Suzerain, it's topical. They're ebooks. Oh, perfect. This is where I suddenly turn into this massive economist. At age 40, when people say your life begins at 40, I could be one of those people that said, you know what, it did begin at 40. It did, because I read a book called Can't We Just Print Money? And then also a bundle from Humble Bundle, and before I knew it, I was signing up to an economist course, NVQ style. You could just do a portfolio, you don't have to do a full degree. Do all that kind of jazzy I was going to say, all that jazz, and before you knew it, I had a new job. I became a personal finance, what's it called? Personal finance, personal financial advisor. Became a financial advisor. Yeah, I suddenly become this expert investor, living on the beach, retreat. How did you make your millions? How do you make your millions? Wow. I can pinpoint the precise time and day, actually. It was on the 29th of January. Around about 9 o'clock in the evening, actually. I was playing a game about running a country called Swordland, and then suddenly we started talking about economics, and I suddenly had an epiphany that, you know what, I'm going to be good at economics. I'm going to read a book about them. It turned into 18 books, and then suddenly, here I am now, on a beach, with my feet up, 2 years later, living the high life. Wouldn't that be an amazing story to tell on GM News or whatever? Good Morning Britain. When I'm kicking off Martin Lewis out of his slot. Martin, goodbye. There's a new face around here. Thank you very much. Your years of experience count for nothing right here, because I am the new boy in town. Lily takes a sip. She's having a hot flush. She's getting all worked up here. When the time comes, I hope you will make the right decision for our own good. Don't worry, you're in safe hands. We should attract more foreign direct investment, Mr. President. We saved the country from a full-on depression in 1952 and 1953 by signing lucrative trade deals with nations such as Rhoesia, Lesbia and Kinal. Get certified. Thank you, Nagisa. Seriously, I'm seriously considering buying. Well, for $18 for 18 books, that's $1 a book. Please tell me if there's like limited supply, because I'm here talking about it. By the time I get to buy it later this evening, it could have sold. But imagine if it's ebooks, so they just probably send them out, and they've got an unlimited copy. You flippin' idiot. Look, I'm an old school man, okay? I'm an old schooler, alright? Simon cleared his throat again. Listen, let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's no beaches involved here just yet. Minister Vichy will be in charge of informing you on these type of foreign policy decisions. We must first decide on our internal economic plan. Hang on a second, right. It's a nice position where I don't have to lean over a little bit. Simon puts forward this legal document, outlining the possibilities with both economic doctrines listed. The cabinet members looked at me expectantly even. Right. We straighten our glasses. 9 days left. I'll be buying them tonight. 100% at $18. Have me money. Oh, it's for dummies, but oh, they're not proper books. Oh, Nagisa, you've just blown it. They're not proper books, them things. Oh, I was after something more academic. Like I'm some brain of Britain here. Maybe for dummies. I suppose it's a starter, isn't it? It's a dipping your toe in, and if you want to read more in-depth books about certain aspects of economy, because you don't have to do them all, do you? You might just want to do a little bit. Maybe a bit of the more personal financy stuff, maybe a bit more of the investing side, and specialise a little bit, maybe, I don't know. I might still get them. I might let you off, Nagisa, I might let you off. Right, come on. There's no dummies in the house here. We have to thank Saul and his planned economy for the boom. It clearly shows the success of the system. Let's finish what Alfonso started. No. Would a planned economy focus bring us stronger allies? Interesting concept. We're going down the line of planned economy. We might as well know all the consequences. Can we bring in stronger allies with a planned economy? If the answer is no, we're screwed. We're just going to have to go it alone. It would make United Contana diplomatically look at our country in a more positive light, says Lilius. They are proponents of the planned economy. And the United Contana are a socialist republic. And we're more socialist than capitalist, so this could indeed work very well. I mean, that's why they like planned economy too, I suppose. Yeah. Okay. The influence Arcasia has on the world economy is extensive. Our economic strategy should be based on internal reasoning, though. Yeah. What's on the long-term economic schedule? I'm asking that question. We should have the economic schedule right up here, to a T. I'm just testing them. Picking a construction company, trade relations, tax reform, and welfare privatisation or nationalisation. That's some of the things on the agenda. Picking a construction company. Cheapest one? Buildings falling down? Oh dear. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Simon. Gus still trying to push us on this whole free market economy stuff. Gus, give it a rest, will you? We've made the choice. We've decided now. Okay, we're not saying that for all eternity we're going to be planned economy. We're just saying for now, till we get out of this mire, with my economical brain, I feel like I can lead us through planned economy effectively. Okay. Yeah, exactly like this. We're not sure, Gus. We're not sure. So basically, let's move on to the conclusion. I thought this is the conclusion. What is the conclusion if we click on that? What's the difference? I think picking a side is a conclusion. Is this not picking a side? What option is this? Does anybody know the difference? I had a very lazy day today. It's a Monday. I work from home on a Monday mainly, and today was no different. And I always do my exercise when I'm working from home. But today, I didn't. and I'm like, I quite fancy something sweet after I've just finished my dinner. And I think it's because it's Chinese, and Chinese is naturally quite a salty cuisine. So after a Chinese, I always, it's the same after a fry up as well, like a full English, with all the kind of processed foods. I always, after eating that food, fancy just something sweet. It don't have to be a big bar of chocolate, like I'm going to eat the whole bar of Galaxy, as in the whole big bar, you know. It just has to be just something sweet to take the edge off. So I'm thinking that after I finish this stream, at 10:30 now, because we've got a bit of time to carry on, yeah, and I'm enjoying myself, just a nice cup of sweet tea and a couple of chocolate orange Galaxy digestives might be in order this evening, but that's going to put me over calorie, probably by about 500 today, because I didn't exercise, which I'm a bit concerned about, but I'll just have to have a good rest of the week, that's all, which is possible, which is highly probable in fact, because I'm usually pretty good, but today I don't know why. I've just felt a bit tired after football yesterday, possibly. I just didn't feel the mojo to do my exercise this afternoon. And I was quite busy at work as well, to be fair. Okay, let's pick an option. And I think we're going to go planned economy. State planning and regulation both showed great success in the 30s. That's almost like saying, you know, what was the 70s? What's 20 years ago? The 2000s, you know. What was something that... Blockbusters. Yeah, in the early 2000s, blockbusters were successful. 20 years later, out of business, bankrupt, gone. That sentence right there sums up probably the situation we find ourselves in by picking this planned economy. It's like going back in time. Successful in the 30s. Yeah, only for a limited time, until even Tarquin Sol himself discovered the limits of the system. The slowdown began during his rule, remember? Yes, Gus, it did. And as I said, just because we are planned economy now doesn't mean we can't change down the line. I mean, would that look really stupid if we changed, like after a couple of terms? We're not going to go into the different economy because we stabilised the economy after the recession, and now we feel it's a good time to dip our toe in a more controlled manner, slower manner, privatising some things and doing it in a drip-fed way, mainly in the areas of state-owned stuff that is failing. And then say hello to the UK. British Rail, no good. Now have Northern Rail, Transpennine Express Rail, NER, whatever other lines you've got. When you privatise the British rail system, and look at us now. Strikes every 5 minutes. Trains cancelled when there's a leaf on the line. Oh, it's beautiful. Anyway, sorry about a slight rant there. I don't get that many trains, what am I bloody bothered about? Some poor buggers get a train every day to work. Right, let's move to the conclusion. What are your final thoughts, Mr. President? What thoughts? I thought I'd give him my thoughts. You are the man with the ideas, after all. Right, okay. Critical institutions must remain in state control. We must be fully responsible in delivering services. Critical institutions, like... We should look at opportunities like privatisation to create financial resources. A market economy doesn't require as much guidance and could help us attract foreign capital. It's hard to fully agree or disagree with these options. This almost feels counterintuitive in terms of our approach to the general reform side of things, because we're going for, you know, mind you, I don't know, will people, generally speaking, would a populace be more happy to have state-controlled key functions I've not really thought about it from the lay person's point of view. Not that it matters. Well, not that it matters. Get me, Mr. President. It doesn't matter what the people think. Oh, sorry, did that slip out there? Sorry about that. Don't get me recorded and put it on the news. Yeah, this is what we're going to go down, because this is the line that we're taking, but I'm just intrigued as to yeah, it depends if it works. Yeah, if British Rail trains run on time. Yeah, if we nationalised British Rail, you know, the rail system, and the trains started running on time, the train tickets were more reasonable, you know, yeah, the pay for the drivers might be not as good as private companies, perhaps, you know, generally speaking, when it comes to state jobs, I suppose, it's a little bit lower paid in some respects. Well, some are, I suppose. Some actually aren't bad. But in the round, but if it's running efficiently, then who cares who runs it? So it's our job to ensure that it's nationalised and run properly. And then people will be happy. Trains are running on time. Do you want to privatise the trains? No, do it, bloody hell. Ah, chance. These trains run on time. Few could be, and it would be negative, but either way, you make the choices. So what will our general economic plan promote? Planned economy as we promised. Oh, so we can go against... So when we made those promises at the start, we weren't locking in. We were just like promising the people that, and we could just like completely go against our... What's it called? Not agenda. What's it called? You know what I'm talking about, you politic people. The mandate? No, mandate. The agenda, not the agenda. What's it? The manifesto. That's the word I was looking for. Against the manifesto. Straight. Yeah, we've been in a couple of days. That sound in that music. I don't know about anybody else, but that sound sounded to me like the sound of a phone vibrating on a desk. That's why I was looking around and thinking my phone's vibrating. Could hear that it was a very strange sound. Don't tell me it's just me. Yeah, anyway, manifesto, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other. Day, you know, this is probably day 2, day 3-ish. Maybe week 2 if it's weeks to end the turn, I don't know. Yeah, do you know what? We're doing a U-turn on that one. We've had a sudden change of mind. With the 3-day president, don't let him, you know, 3 days he'll change his mind. Planned economy, come on. Not sure if... Well, I'm not asking you, Gus, am I? Gus looks worried. Lilius, looking happy as Larry. Now that there is clarity on which direction we are heading, I will work on a good plan accordingly. That's all we can ask. Look, we are the man that makes a decision. You are the people that do it. Don't be negative. Gus, don't be grumpy Gus here. Off you go. Make it work. Pronto. Come on. I want a can-do attitude here. Amongst the cabinets. We can do. We must do. All of this moaning mini stuff. Right. Thank you, and I hope the next meeting is just as productive. Dismissed. The ministers dispersed for lunch, and who would like to bet that there was some bitching and moaning at the lunch table? That bloody president, he don't have a big clue, does he? Says Gus, whilst chewing on a bloody taco or something, I don't know. I tried to tell him. Other person sat opposite, you know, egg and cress sandwich. I've heard it all before. Leave me alone, Gus. I wanted peace on my lunch break. Oh, gosh. Right. Oh, we've got a lot of briefings here. Right, it's 21:56. I've got to think about ending the session now at 10:30ish. So what we're going to do is we're going to read all of these clipboards, and then we're going to advance the time once more. And that should probably take us to about 10:30 if I don't get carried away. So what we're going to do is we'll go to the large map here and have a look at down here. So this is the Kingdom of Rhesia. Now apparently doing my usual trick, which is watching a playthrough of this game alongside my own playthrough. And apparently the guy that... Somebody mentioned it yesterday in the stream, but I can't remember if they gave the actual concept of the DLC. So I might be misremembering where I picked this up. But basically, in the DLC, which is coming later this year, we're going to be playing as... I say we are going to be because I'm going to probably play it if it comes out, because this is a really good game. We're going to be in control of the monarch of the Kingdom of Rhesia, apparently. So that'd be quite fun. A constitutional... Not a is it an absolute monarchy, perhaps? What does it say about it? It's a constitutional monarchy. Which is... So a constitutional monarchy is where the monarch is the head of state, right? But there's still a government that does things. Whereas an absolute monarchy is like feudal system, right? It's like old days. The king is the king. Off with his head. Is that right? Anyway. Are there any countries that have an absolute monarch nowadays? Where the king is like, yeah, I'm the king, mate, and you're not doing anything that I don't want you to do. Saudi Arabia. Oh, really? I didn't even know that. Saudi Arabia, really? Okay, interesting. I mean, of all the countries to be the absolute monarch, Saudi Arabia is the country with all the oil, isn't it? It's a perfect place to have absolute monarchy. That's all mine. Ha ha! Ultimate power. Yeah, that's a constitutional monarchy in the Geese, you're right. So all the Middle Eastern countries, basically. Well, there's a pattern here. Right, the Kingdom of Rhesia congratulates us on our election victory. So we got in the first turn, some countries were their leaders were congratulating us, and I was going to read about those countries and those leaders in this stream, but I'd realised that talking for half an hour about the actual what happened last time out and bringing things together meant that reading all that stuff on top was going to be too much. So we will get round to reading about these other countries and their leaders, because we might end up having to have a bit of parley with them, you know, trade agreements. But anyway, some people are a bit slow on the congratulations, but nonetheless, better late than never. King Romus Taurus of Rhesia has formally extended warm congratulations to President Anton Rain following his electoral success. In an official address, praised our thriving democratic ethos and expressed a keen interest in fortifying bilateral ties under the Rain administration. The king anticipates a future of close cooperation and mutual respect between the two nations. We're all fine. It's Rumberg that's the problem. Bahrain is constitutional monarchy. Isn't Brunei like the richest country in the world? Is that what the place I'm thinking of, or richest? It's top of the charts in a rich thing. I don't know if it's total riches, GDP or whatever, but basically, it's the richest country in the world. I think I read that somewhere. Brunei. Yeah, so basically all the richest countries in the world have absolute monarchies. What a coincidence. What a flipping coincidence. I think he lives in Vegas, really? Well, sounds like an awesome place to live. Right, thank you, King of Rhesia. We thank you for your kind address. Right, where's the other... Is there any more? Any more? There's one there. Oh, the Contanan Security Pact. See you later, Cham. Okay, so this was in the first turn, but we missed it, I think. What does Suzerain mean? Suzerain... Ollie, give us the actual meaning of the word Suzerain. It's a political term, I think. Anyway, read this. It's all very dull stuff, which we should probably know about, but CSP and the Federation of Anraka sign historic NAP. A significant step forward in internal diplomacy. The Contanan Security Pact, an intergovernmental military and economic alliance of 9 countries led by United Contana, we might be allying with them at some point, has signed a 5-year non-aggression pact with the Federation of Anrakan Isles. This landmark agreement underlines the CSP's commitment to broadening its influence beyond its home continent of Contana, while maintaining peaceful relations across the globe. Okay, so this is basically almost like world news, really. This is like not immediate news, not even like country close to us news. This is like wider world news, I believe. Unless I've got that wrong as well, but hey. Anyway, let's have a look. We've got a new economic policy, and that is we are promoting planned economy. In line with our economic vision, we are advocating for a planned economy system, urging businesses to align their operations with this approach. Through comprehensive economic planning and coordinated resource allocation, we aim to optimise productivity, ensure social welfare, and achieve long-term economic stability and growth. Written like that, put on the paper, sounds fabulous. Of course, it won't be that simple, will it? But we can only hope that it becomes that simple. Now, I reckon that in the game, these reds will turn into different colours as we're addressing the issues, and some of them might even go green as we're excelling, and it'll be quite interesting to see how the different coloured things all change as we progress onwards with our decision making. But anyway, let's get these. We've got 25 minutes, plenty of time. Let's get these done. And Angland. So Angland is, I think, one of the... Was it Arvery? Let me just see this for a second. Let me just see this. Fishing companies. Unemployment. Logistical jobs. I'm sure, where was the other industry place? Oh, there's logistical issues here. Oh, that's come up because the mayor reported it in that last update that we had. Oh dear. Am I getting this right? Wrong? Lenkenberg? More fishing industry. Okay, maybe it wasn't this area. Lack of road network here. Oh, it's all bad. Let's read the report. The recent collapse of the tourism industry in Lenkberg has led to a reduction in trade traffic and road maintenance. The road network is currently in service but is in need of substantial improvement. Ports, country roads and bridges similarly suffer from a lack of investment. Firms doing business in Lenkberg report a significant shortage of warehouse facilities, particularly refrigerated facilities, with implications for the transportation system and the ability to serve the population's basic food and health needs. Quite a serious concern, isn't it? Concern L seriousness. Right, this is Lashaven, a big city. We'll do that last. Gelsord. The recession led to a reduction in rail assets. We're just talking about the rail. With more than a fifth of the railway network itself antiquated, being mothballed in the recent years. While the main lines are currently in service, increasing demand in goods from Gelsord to the capital is pushing the network to its limits. The rail signalling system is in the region dates from the middle of the last century. It is also in need of improvement. Our country is falling to bits. Absolutely collapsing in on itself. What have we taken over here? Promising agricultural growth. Positive news. Finally. It's always good to have some positive to balance the negatives. For the first time in 3 years, the agricultural output of Sana has increased. Many experts link the increased output to both a drop in temperatures and new farming practices that have been adopted in recent years. Additionally, farmers are now accessing more generous credit allowances from the government that were left over from the Alfonso administration. Potential to be a powerhouse if investments persist. That's pretty cool. So that's Sana. Which is good because the Berger region is a little bit underdeveloped, and you know the Bloodish people, the whole situation there, you know, unemployment, you know, It's all very, very grim down there. Poor economy. Well, that's a nice little boon for the region. Boring. In Boring, there has been a significant surge in demand for local wines. This sudden increase has led to a busy season for vineyards and wineries across the region. Causing this rise in demand comes from international interest, and it is certainly driving economic activity in the city. Wineries are ramping up production to meet the increased demand. The continued trend could further stimulate the region's economy. So, yeah, we've got wine on the increase. Wine exporting, let's get that out there and sell it. We've got agricultural improvements in Sana. So we've got some good happening. Morna. Increasing unemployment. Okay, very good. Very good. More doom and gloom there. And finally, Leshaven, our port town, which is on the decline. Like everything else around here. Apart from the agriculture and some of the other thing that's just improved. Wines. Oh no. Paused oil extraction operations for essential maintenance. Oh dear. This should not be shut down for any length of time. Oh. Oof. Now, if we're trying to nationalise things, if we can't sort this problem out, what hope are people going to have of us keeping check on all the services that we're supposed to also be keeping an eye on? That needs sorting pretty sharpish. Right, okay, we've got 20 minutes to progress the next, no doubt, meeting. So let's get ourselves back into the zone for our final meeting of the day. This is literally, this game might as well be called Job Simulator. For those of us that work in government roles or just clerical roles or business roles, you know, board meetings, meetings upon meetings. Talk of stakeholders. All the game needs to implement now is email system, and it's game over. God. But I'm not mocking it. I still love it to bits, but it just feels so much like work. It's unbelievable. Lucian and Peter arrive at my office. Lucian, you again, is it? God. Time to talk about recent developments of the media strategy, says Lucian, rubbing his hands together. Oh my God, in glee. Oh God, is this good news? They both took to their seats across from me. Lucian put on his reading glasses and quickly went over some documents. Peter turned to Lucian and nodded. What, as if to say, spit it out? What's happening here? I'm a bit suspicious. Greetings, gentlemen. Could have been just his cue to talk. I have just received further information from the interior about the sudden fire that broke out at the Holstead State University archives nearby. Now remember, archives, employee records, conveniently up in flames. Was it a disgruntled employee, perchance? Tell me more. The initial reports from the Holstead police chief indicate a potential arson case. In accordance with protocol, the Sardish Intelligence Directorate has been called. The SID, the SID, El-SID. So FBI, is it no, CIA, I don't know, intelligence agencies? Anyway, it's the SID, it's not the CID, it's the SID. Is the SID really necessary for this, says Peter? Why would anyone hit the archives of a university in the first place? I see no logical motive there. I do, says President Ray. Seems like the chief suspects foreign sabotage. They informed us that a large section of the archive has been destroyed. It included tens of thousands of globally recognized research documents in original by the great thinkers of our people. Tragic loss. Tragic loss. But that's a smokescreen by the arsonist who was clearly a disgruntled employee, who wanted to hide records of some ill-doing. Yeah. Which is a shit. Well, that was my first instinct, wasn't it? That is rather a shame. Luckily, most originals have copies in the other universities and some international libraries. The first edition of my favourite book, The Geopolitics of Swordland by Herman Equa, was destroyed too. Maybe it was just a freak accident. We do have the copies of most important works, so no single fire can eradicate our knowledge. I see no point in destroying employee records either. More importantly, Lucian mentioned that Marcel Caronti contacted him. The Carontis have always been known as one of the richest and most influential families. We wanted him to contact us. Only son of Caronti, industrialist, media mogul, BBC equivalent, and now owns hotels. That guy. He's offered to meet with you, Mr. President. Ah. Oh, it's not the big man, it's his son. Where's the big man then? Oh no, we've read about his son. Yeah, this is his son. Okay, so we read about his son initially. I mean, his son still sounds pretty decent. Okay, ask him what he wants. After the passing of his father, may he rest in peace, Marcel aims to become the next CEO of the HOS. He mentioned a productive collaboration, so let's have a look at the HOS before we make a decision on this one. The Heart of Swordland conglomerate is a multi-industry corporation with tens of billions of our currency, and is part of the Big Four, the four largest companies in Swordland. They're involved in many industries but only have a monopoly in the media industry. So the ownership of Swordland today and the Swordish Broadcasting Corporation have invested in radio, television and advertising. Swordish citizens employed by HOS enjoy many benefits, such as huge salary bonuses, free private healthcare and free housing. It's been a leadership question, but it's still a major company. He's not yet CEO. Basically, is he going to want us to push his claims to be CEO? I don't know how we can do that. How are we going to influence that? Let's see what he wants. I mean, he's providing jobs for the people, which is, a good thing. Peter just chipping in. I am aware, Peter. I'm aware, thank you. I do know my things. I do lots of reading when I'm supposed to be winding down. I can't help myself. So I'm quite knowledgeable about things, Peter, despite what you may think of me. Which means it would be wise to have them by our side. Sorry for interrupting that. So good job you did. Thank you. Any ideas of what this productive collaboration will entail? He did not wish to explain the details over the phone, but rather in person. I believe I will be receiving a call from him sometime soon. However, as Peter said, they have substantial power over the content of media outlets, headlines, radio shows. That is what he would be offering. What he wants in return is what we need to understand. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we need to determine our general approach to media. Yes, well, Lucian made some very interesting arguments at the preparation meeting yesterday. There are two ways we can approach the media. One of them is by influencing it, which has clear advantages. The other one is keeping it independent. No, we have already got freedom of press, and that was down as a green thing. So we shall continue to have freedom of press. As much as the press can be a pain, they can also be useful. And if they are independent and promote us in a good light, which is unlikely to happen, because when does the media ever portray any government in a good light? At least then people can be assured that it must be right, because we don't control them. Independence is the key. Ideally, yes, but an unpopular leader will not be able to pass even the easiest reforms. It is of utmost importance to maintain public popularity and avoid any damaging scandals or mistakes. Well, we're not the scandal type of person. Look at us. We are the most sweetest, innocent-looking thing. Mistakes, we can't help. We're only human. Let's just hope that we don't make any massive, massive faux pas then. Because the media will be on our back like a shot. I must stress one thing, Mr. President. The more people we have supporting our agenda, the more we can accomplish. With someone on our side in an influential media organisation, we can do this very easily. What's he getting at? Is he wanting us to actually control the media? And maybe, I don't know. He's wanting us to use that man, which will want something back in return, to influence the media, right? It's just to form a good relationship with him. Oh, is that all it is? Right, okay. Yeah, well, we see, vaguely see, what you're getting at. We'll bear it in mind. I agree with Lucian, but why the assumption there'll be scandals and mistakes? We can always hope for the best, but do we really think nothing can go wrong? Especially considering the very recent history of Swordland. 2 knocks were heard on the door. I'm taking the opposite approach to you. Well, buckle up and enjoy the ride. Could go very well, could go catastrophically wrong. I mean, we'll have to ask who it is. We can't just invite anybody in. We're in the middle of a meeting here. Who is it? It's Livia, Mr. President. Who the hell's Livia? Private secretary. So she's our private secretary. Tasked with directly handling most of the critical calls, scheduling, and paperwork for the president. She previously worked in Swordfish Airlines headquarters as a secretary of the director. She started last year working, assigned to assist Peter. So I got my own personal secretary, as if I wouldn't do as the president, I suppose. Okay, Olivia, come in. Her dark curls bounced as she crossed the room to my desk. She spoke with a slight lilt in her voice. What's a lilt? Sort of tropical taste. Excuse me, Mr. President. Mr. Gallade's secretary has been calling me and wanted me to relay a message. Marcel Caronti and new CEO, the new CEO for HOS Conglomerate is on the line for Mr. Gallade. Well, the ball is in our court now. Would you like to talk to him, sir, or would you like me to? Oh, we We can take the call. Do we trust Lucian to take the important? Of course not. There are certain tasks you don't delegate. Talking to business moguls, making sure that no underhandedness is happening, and that he gets the complete picture about how we are going to operate going forward, needs to come from my lips. And my lips alone. Connect him to my office, please. Livy, if you don't mind. Right away, sir. Connecting the call to line 1. Oh, bit of sound effects. President speaking. Sounds a bit too up your own backside for my liking. Mr. Caronti, it's a pleasure. Bit too informal for my liking also. So instead just the neutral. Hello, Marcel. Greetings, Mr. Ray. I know your time is valuable, so I will not waste any of it. I was just elected CEO of HOS. My strategy in the running of this conglomerate will be different than my father's approach. This is why I am offering a partnership deal regarding our media branch. I would like to formally invite you to my resort near Conriat for a meeting to discuss the details. Now, this is where things get really interesting because we've got freedom of press. We're going to go over there to a meeting and be snapped, probably, in his resort, and then the tongues are going to start wagging. These are things you've got to think about, haven't you? It could be, an innocent meeting, and you've got to think about the consequences of being seen in people's presence. That is quite a bind. The curse of being famous. Could you imagine? If every time you step foot in the public, you had to worry about what the hell was going to see you. Oh, no thanks. I'm happy as little old me. Right. Yeah, what does that entail exactly? Our future as partners, Mr. President. Surely we can't talk about the details on the phone. I just wish to have a face-to-face conversation with you. I will send you the details through my secretary if you are interested. It's a meeting. And as much as, we don't want to litter our diary with meetings upon meetings upon meetings upon meetings, it's a meeting. So, face-to-face as well. Microsoft Teams, telephones in the 50s, whatever else. You can't put your point across properly. Body language, is a big thing. When it comes to building rapport and stuff, we need to see face-to-face. So, meeting could be consequences of being seen in this man's presence. But, hopefully, we can iron out whatever it is he wants to propose. Because I've got a sticky suspicion whatever he's going to propose, we'll be like, no thank you. No thank you very much. Thank you, but no thank you. That sounds like bribery to me. But we shall listen. You will not be disappointed. I promise. Well then, I will let you return to your packed schedule. See you later, Mr. President. See you later, Mr. Caronti. And then I hung up the phone. Clunk, with a gentle click. Not a slam down, just a little clip, clip. Livia, calendar update. Calendar update. It's settled then. Looking forward to next month. I wonder if he has a pool. Who else is coming on this little jaunt? Expenses paid, is it? government funding. So this is not a holiday resort. This is not a bloody holiday retreat. Lucian looked at his watch. 30 minutes. It appears we're done for today. We will continue where we left off later. Thank you for your time. Good work, Marcel. Keep going. You're getting into the spirit of things. Oh, good work with Marcel. Keep it up. Oh, that indicates that we're really happy that he's brought Marcel to our door. We are, technically. We are happy because we get to speak with him. And that means that we can flesh out conversation. Maybe deals to be struck, maybe not. But we've got the door open to him and we needed to do that and he got that done. So, you know what? Yeah, good work with that. Keep it up. And then they leave. We were already getting the attention of key figures. And potentially dangerous ones. Dun, dun, dun. And on that bombshell, we saved the game. Okay, so we've got 2 exclamation marks today. We can't be in 2 places at once. We can't have 2 meetings at the same time, surely. We have to delegate one on. Right. I'm not going to do any of the... excuse me. You can just click on that, actually. It just takes you right there. Just takes you there. But you can't click out of this screen, unfortunately, which is another thing I've realised. You can't click out of this bit. So you have to either click on that or read the report. Or do that. It's a little bit irksome. But anyway, so we're not going to read anything else this session because I've done enough reading and we're finishing the stream. But we got some stuff to read. We got 2 exclamations to do. But what we will do before we finish, we will check the updates here, and we've neglected the news articles over the past few turns because I'm an idiot and nobody reminded me that, by the way, there's newspaper articles there, you know. Thanks very much for being attentive. But anyway, I'll read those off camera, and if there's anything that's really, really, really interesting, I'll put it on my notes for next session and I shall tell you about it. But anyway, so we have an update somewhere here. We have diplomacy update situation. We have fluctuating energy prices. So what was our energy prices before in diplomacy? It didn't have any. There was no energy problems. In fact, I think our energy prices were stable. And JJ, you've just confirmed it. I think they were I remember seeing it and thinking that the energy prices were stable, and that was a good thing because of the current situation with our energy prices. I made the comparison, and it's stuck in my head. So yes, I do recall they were steady. So they've actually decreased. Fluctuating energy prices. Development causing uncertainty in the domestic market. This unpredictability may lead to significant repercussions for Swordland's economy and can influence both domestic policy and international trade relations. Now, that could just be something that was going to happen regardless. It could be something to do with what we've picked and what policies we've chosen. I don't know. But we'll just have to keep it on the radar. It's not a major problem, but I'm going to add it to my list of problems because it's becoming a bit of an issue. So that's that. And the codex, we have a codex update about corporations and about HOS. So basically, so things actually get changed in the codec as the game progresses and things happen. So this is just literally this guy, Conrath Caronti, has just died in the game, which might mean that if you start the game and click on him, he might still be classed as alive, which would be really interesting. But he's died, his son has come into power, and we're going to be seeing him at his private resort, no doubt in the next session. Okay, so there you go, folks. Pretty much 10:30 on the dot, so that's really good timing. Just got to let you know that this game, I'm having a royal blast with it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think, for somebody that doesn't like politics very much, I don't do politics very much. I don't say I don't like it. I like economics. I find politics and the intricacies behind decision making in politics quite interesting. The older, I think it's an old thing. I think the older you get, there's certain things that you've always had kind of intrigues about that you think to yourself, you never really given too much of a thought until you get older. You think, you know what? It's quite interesting to see how this works or how that works, and then you look into it and think, oh yeah, I wish I'd have known this far sooner. But yeah, so politics is another one, because politics in itself is a whole different level of complexities. It's a mind of its own. Right, is that the only update that we've got? No, we've got a character update, we've got a business update, we've got Conrath Caranti. So it's updated that. Oh, he died due to cirrhosis, which is obviously, cirrhosis is a liver disease. Was he a heavy drinker? Who knows? And his son Marcel this is going to have changed to represent that he's now the CEO and has taken over the company. So the codexes are actually living documents, essentially, in the context of the game. They develop and change as the story progresses. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool indeed. They're not static. Right, I've got 18 news articles to read whilst I'm drinking my tea and having my 2 chocolate digestives, because I've got to have them, I've decided. So, you go forth and have a very good evening, rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Thank you for joining me again this evening. Hopefully you've enjoyed this just as much as I have. Next stream of this will be probably, if not next Sunday, or this coming Sunday, next Monday. Between now and then, I'm gonna, and I mean this for certain, bring you a recorded session, because I want to continue on. The recorded sessions might be a little bit more ready heavy, if that's going to make sense, because I've done a lot of reading here, but a lot of the things that I can do in recording sessions, which might be quite fun, is just read about some of the cities and read about some of the other countries and their leaders and that kind of more backgroundy stuff. And then we can just progress through the story in the streams you see together. So that's what I think I might do, having thought about it. So I'll bring you some lore-heavy recorded sessions before the next stream. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for taking part. Thanks for giving me advice where you have, and for also piping up with certain decisions and stuff. It's all been good. So until next time, folks. I definitely need a cup of tea after all this talking. Tomorrow is Tuesday. No stream tomorrow. I've got a busy day after work tomorrow. I was planning on streaming 5 days in a row, but tomorrow I've got a full day at work, and then I'm rushing home. Then I've got to go to the travel agent to book a holiday. Like it's a chore. By the time then I've got to come back and exercise, because I didn't exercise today, so I have to exercise tomorrow. There is no football tomorrow, which is why I was going to stream, but I'm going to have, after I've done all of that, it's probably going to be closer to 6-7 o'clock, and I just want to have a bit of a chill out tomorrow night. So no stream tomorrow, but Wednesday also no stream, because I've just confirmed today that I'm going around to my friends for dinner. So this is the last stream until Thursday, where it's no doubt going to be an impromptu stream of Alan Wake. But anyway, best of intentions and best laid plans go to rack and ruin. But anyway, have a good one, folks, and until next time, I'll see you soon. Fabulous.